Kill me! I'm here! Kill me!
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of The Girl on the Train. Now, before I get into this movie itself, I'm just going to do a little bit of a preamble to let you know my feelings on Emily Blunt as an actress. I am a big fan of Emily Blunt. I think she, one, is obviously a very beautiful woman. Two, I think she's a very accomplished actress who's been awesome in a lot of roles. And three, there is a few movies of hers that I really enjoy. I loved Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, or whatever you want to call it. I was a big fan of The Adjustment Bureau. I'm really surprised that that movie didn't seem to get more traction. And there's a lot, like, she was great in lots of other movies. And so I've become a very big fan of hers, and so made me want to watch this movie. And this movie sucked, in my opinion. It was really amazing to me how thoroughly this movie made me dislike her character. It was there was twists in this movie that I thought were entirely predictable. There wasn't a single character in the movie that I grabbed onto and liked in any way. I thought it dragged on and on. Everybody, like, there wasn't a single scene in this movie that I was like, oh, that's good. And over the weekend I did a review of the last Resident Evil movie, and I was talking about how I didn't like the editing and all that kind of thing. This movie doesn't have any of those issues. Like, there's no quick cut, so you don't know what's happening. It has the opposite issue in my view, because almost right from the beginning it seemed pretty obvious that how the movie was gonna play out, and maybe there was like a little bits here or there that were a little bit unclear, but there was nothing about it. There was never a moment in the movie where I was like, oh, really? And it really felt like this movie thought that was gonna happen to the audience, and I don't know how that they thought that. I mean, even if I hadn't seen what was gonna happen coming, which I really thought was pretty obvious based on the performances in the movie, even if I didn't see that, it would have just been like, oh, okay, I didn't think of that. It wouldn't have been like, what? Like, I don't know what this movie was going for. Like, other than, like I said, I think it was thought it was going to shock people, but I don't know how it possibly deluded itself into thinking that. I'm surprised Emily Blunt signed on to do it. I mean, maybe they thought she thought that she was going to be in the next, like, Gone Girl, but this is far from it. It isn't clever. There's not a performance in it that I thought was like very believable. I mean, Emily Blunt seemed like there was lots of scenes, and I don't blame her. I think it was like the story and the direction. It seemed like she was like almost hamming it up. Like, it was a little bit over the top. Like, it reminded me a little bit of, like, her character in the movie is an alcoholic, and it reminded me almost of the when you watch a sitcom or whatever, and you see the scenes where everybody's high and they're like almost like it was that. And obviously she's not like sitting in the corner laughing about the poster or the movie, or talking about how the hamburger looks like it's gonna eat me, or any of that stupid crap you see in a sitcom. But she was so over the top with, like, falling around and making these like weird noises and faces and stuff like that, that there was the lack of subtlety is what really took me out of any of those moments. And then there's all kinds of other characters in this movie. Like, Laura Prepon is in this, the girl from that 70s show and Orange is the New Black, and her character was not great. Like, her motivation was silly, and then like her actions didn't really comport with what her character was set up to be like. There wasn't a single character in the movie that seemed to really like Emily Blunt's character very much, and that's a problem when the movie is supposed to be like, you're supposed to be seeing the movie through her eyes, and it's not like the movie was about like her descent into drunkenness. I mean, there was a little bit of that, but that's not really what the movie was about. It was about like this murder mystery kind of thing. So it's not like having everybody around her like kind of looking cross-eyed at her added to the story. I mean, there's a cop in the movie that clearly thinks that she's the one who committed the crime that she's investigating, and I thought she was actually the best performance in the entire movie. And it's Allison Janney played the character, and like her looking at her cross-eyed, sure. And you know, some of the other characters maybe, but you need to have at least somebody who's like, oh no, yeah. And like there's one other person that comes very late in the movie, and it's supposed to be this shocking reveal moment. So even her character like being kind to her for the slightest of slightest of moments is kind of cut across it, because it really doesn't land, because it immediately goes into this like stuff. And again, it was like, oh yeah, all right, that's what's happened. Okay. I just didn't. There was nothing about this movie that I liked. So those are my thoughts on The Girl on the Train. If you saw the movie, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. And if you liked it, that's awesome. I'm very much happy for you. But yeah, I was not a fan at all. Please hit like. It does huge things for my channel. It gets my videos in front of people that otherwise wouldn't have seen it, and it means the world to me. And if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe. I love talking to you guys about movies. And if you're new and you don't hit that subscribe, you probably won't be able to talk again, or you won't be able to hear my thoughts and respond in the comments below. And that sucks, because I love the interaction. I love movies, and I love talking to you guys. So other than that, have yourself a nice day.